Welcome to E4 Electric live from Bangkok, Thailand. It is midnight here. Let me know where you're watching me from and exactly what time it is. Now, I had a couple of different guests that I was looking into inviting today, but they're both sick, which is fine because there was no actual rush to have them on. You guys are going to love them, but there is no actual rush because what I wanted to talk about today, and again, I'm picking a topic that I don't think anyone else is going to tell you about. So a couple of weeks ago, I was talking about what it's like to be a passport bro and come to Thailand and live in Thailand, live in a different country compared to America. And I think there are very few people who are honest about what really happens, especially to a single guy who moves to Thailand. And today, I want to talk about what the hell is going on with Tesla, electric car, and just generally influencers and YouTubers, because I've been doing this for almost 8 years, and 6 of them is full time. But you probably have noticed that things have changed a lot on this channel, including in the last several months. You've probably noticed that things have changed, with your favorite, YouTubers who talk about Tesla or electric cars. Let me know in the chat right now or in the comment section if you're watching this, in recording. Who is your favorite YouTuber is right now? Besides, but and it doesn't have to be an electric car space or Tesla space. By the way, welcome to all of you guys. It looks like there's people watching from the UK, Sweden, and West Palm Beach, Florida. It's exactly the opposite, almost exactly the opposite there. Hope you had a good lunch. So let me tell you some behind the scenes. I don't know if it's secrets because no one's really tried to keep it a secret, but I guess it's like inconvenient truth about what's happening on the back end of what sort of we are doing here. Now, as 10 years ago, a lot of people became, influencers, including myself. A lot of us didn't know that we could earn money on this, or we could even be popular. I mean, I'm 47 now, so I started when I was almost 40. I didn't think that somebody was going to watch my old ass talk about electric cars, which wasn't even a thing back then. People thought I was a freak driving a Tesla in 2012, 2013, 2014, right? So I got to tell you, most of the YouTubers who I know who've done it professionally for a long time did not plan this. Wanting to be a full-time professional YouTuber is kind of like wanting to be a baseball player or a football player or an actor. It ain't going to happen to you, right? So a lot of us weren't even thinking that way. I actually was kind of, did somebody just post it as me, E4 Electric, saying, let's go? Oh, no, that was me. See, talking about old people. All right. So, my chat goes up here, and down in my UI tool. Anyway, don't worry about it. So a lot of people became influencers because we started with this, right? And then, of course, money came in, and some of us were able to kind of stay true to what's in our hearts. Some sold out, but overall, I feel like, especially with electric cars, you guys got a pretty good idea of what's happening. It was exciting, but that's not what's happening now. Like I said, not with this channel, not with probably your favorite, YouTubers who talk about Tesla and electric cars. Remember Ben Solons? I remember when I started and I was like, oh my God, this guy is amazing. Like, I wish I could be like him one day, and even he earns money on this. It's so crazy, right? And now Ben is kind of, I would say, almost irrelevant, right? Because he kind of gave up on his channel. I know he posts videos once in a while, but it looks like it's only to make some extra money or take an expensive, expense paid trip. I know because I see him on those once in a while, and I kind of see how he behaves there and what he talks about. And again, I don't want to disclose any private conversations I had with him, but he just kind of almost voluntarily became not sort of relevant and wanting to be relevant because he's got other things going on. Some of the YouTubers have, like maybe like Tesla Kim, who's now Kim Java, and who were huge Tesla, influencers and fans, now kind of shifted away from Tesla. Now PJ, her husband, has joined her and became more of a kind of a family show, maybe a little bit more news, maybe not Tesla news. She became more critical of Tesla. I actually just did a reaction to one of her videos that was really cool and funny. And I'm working on another reaction video to her video. So things are a little weird, right? And but there's also like people like was it Electric Viking, right? The guy who like makes 3 videos a day, which is insane. I can see that they're actually not poorly produced at all. But I can guarantee you that he will absolutely get worn out very quickly. Even if he has a team of people working for him, it is a 24/7 operation that he must be running. I know because I used to do that as well. And people get burned out. Like right now, we're also in the recession, so a lot of money that was pouring into sponsorships and trips and everything has kind of dried up. As you probably noticed, this channel really doesn't have that many sponsors anymore, which is fine. And a lot of us have already earned enough money where we don't really have to do this. Like I and many other YouTubers I know, we can technically retire, especially now that I live in Thailand. So it is definitely, as you can probably notice, different. If you watch YouTube outside of electric car community, you probably know that some YouTubers are quitting. Some because some get banned, right, or demonetized. The censorship has gone up. YouTube, TikTok, Facebook, they never treated us well, but they're treating us even worse. I know some people who get demonetized for no reason whatsoever, no explanation, lose their entire income and for no good reason whatsoever. So it also it doesn't take much to become a new influencer. Now, it used to be the algorithms, especially YouTube, where people earn most of the money, would be like, hey, if you have a following, if you have a dedicated subscriber base, you will do well because we will deliver these videos to your audience and people who are like your audience, and you will have pretty decent views. That's kind of over. As a matter of fact, the subscriber count doesn't matter at all. There are plenty of people who have a huge subscriber count and get very little views. For example, my TikTok account. My TikTok account has 500,000 freaking users, subscribers, and yet lately I can't hit more than 1,000 views there. And when it comes to earning money, it's all about the views. The short form content versus long form content, as you know, these weekly live streams is the only way that I actually make long form content anymore. All of my content now, and I post twice a day now, is 60 seconds or less. But then I have to make a longer version, 2, 3, 4 minutes for TikTok and some other media like Facebook, other social media platforms, because that's the only way to earn money and get some views there. So all of these new rules that social media platforms come up with do not favor OGs like me, right? All of the audiences that we've grown, the expertise that we've grown, don't matter anymore. So it is much harder to make money. It's much harder to find the right audience. The algorithms are running all over the place. YouTube's trying to chase TikTok, and then TikTok's trying to chase, YouTube. There are new social media platforms are coming up. Now X is doing something different now that Elon Musk bought it, right? So things change all the time. It used to be like, hey, listen, like I used to deliver electric car news, and I had a certain format and I had a certain following, and I was able to be relatively comfortable going to bed knowing that tomorrow I can operate in a relatively similar way and I will have a job. Now, none of it is true. None of it is true. From influencers that I personally watch to influencers that I know myself now, whether you're YouTubers or Facebook influencers or TikTokers, everyone's up and down, up and down, and up and down. And some people cannot afford to be down for too long. Right, they cannot afford to be down for too long, so they have to either quit, get different jobs and stuff like that, and stop making content. So that's another big deal. That's about a big thing that's essentially slowing everybody down. Now, in my space, particularly in electric cars, when I started, the major publications wanted to have nothing to do with electric cars, right? The Car and Driver, Automobile, Motor Trend, and everything. So early enthusiasts like myself, we would get access and be invited to media drives from all of these manufacturers. We would have access to their CEOs and cars and everything. And we were able to bring you some really cool stuff. But then once electric cars became popular, the Motor Trends of the world, the automobile magazines of the world, the bigger channels that used to talk about gas cars, like Donut, for example. I love that channel. And they started getting, invites rather than us, right? Of course, I'd rather get, Motor Trend and exclusive rather than this random guy. So, but those guys operate very differently, right? Those guys are old school professionals, and they are not, essentially the quality of their content goes down because there's no heart there, right? Where, when influencers like me, Kim, Ben, we all used to really, really, really love this. And so the content had some hearts in it, right? But that unfortunately is now all been taken away from us. And now we kind of can only digest that information secondhand. And on top of that, a lot of these, companies that like Inside EVs or even Donut, the channel, right? They get bought by bigger companies with their own policies. They essentially either fired or squeezed out a lot of great talent by not paying them enough or by forcing them to do things they didn't want to do, not giving them creative freedom anymore. I think Donut just lost yet another popular member. As a matter of fact, a lot of talent has left Donut Media because of that, and they've created their own channels, and now they're explaining what happened behind the scenes. I know a lot of stuff that went down behind the scenes of some other magazines. I think the only one that's really kept intact is so far as like Electric out of everybody I know. Yes, somebody mentioned Tesla Time News was Zach and Jesse, but even they have changed as you noticed. And that brings me to the next sort of point, and that is that, when I started with Tesla and then kind of continued, expanded to electric cars, I don't know if some of you know, my YouTube channel used to be only dedicated to Tesla when I was a huge fan. I was one of the first people to buy a Tesla back in 2012. I changed it from everything Tesla, that was the original name, to E for Electric because I wanted to expand into all electric cars. I mean, I loved Tesla at that time, and I knew that was the brand, but I also wanted to cover other electric cars. And at that time, I already started seeing that Emperor has no clothes with Elon Musk and stuff like that. So, so I expanded to electric cars, and it was great. I mean, there was and I dedicated myself to the news because I love to know what's going on with the latest stuff. I follow politics, I follow tech, and a lot, I was like, let me be the guy who brings it to you guys. And I love doing it. And it sounded like you guys loved watching me. And there was also Nikki from Transport Evolved, which you probably also, if you follow her, she is an excellent journalist. Her news reporting is great. And yet, look, her views, just like mine, has kind of went down and down and down. And it's a shame. And all of that is in favor of, Motor Trend that brings you complete bullshit reporting. And I've already made videos why that reporting is bullshit, because now, in order to get access to, those latest cars and the latest electric vehicles and media drives, you have to kiss their ass. As you know, when I reported once negatively about Volkswagen, they not only stopped sponsoring my channel, they also banned me from all of the media events, right? So whenever, Car and Driver or Automobile or whatever other big channels and journalists get access to these cars, they're not even allowed to tell you guys the truth. And we used to, right? So it's a disservice to everybody. But, at some point, the electric car news went from very positive and very exciting. Like the new tech was being unveiled, the new prototypes were being unveiled, the new companies were born. All of that, little by little by little, changed into nothing but bad news. I mean, I've recently was called out by a bunch of people, including friends of mine, said, Alex, your channel is not only becoming negative, you sound like you hate electric cars. And I'm like, my God, you're right. And I genuinely decided to say, you know what? I'm only going to report on positive stories, and I'm going to really try to not talk about the negative stories. And that's it, right? And I think I've lasted for about 2 weeks. I'm still trying to. My most positive story has gotten the least amount of views ever since I relaunched my channel into short form content. And my most negative stories, which I kind of had to make, right? If Donald Trump says something about electric cars, or Tesla does something that's just crazy, I got to report on that. It is still an electric car news channel, and Tesla is a big part of it. The president or candidate for the president of the United States is still a big part of what's going to be happening with electric cars. So I basically I mean, I'm looking at my numbers, and the more negative I go, which I'm not trying to, right? I'm just trying to report, the more views I get. But when I brought you the story about the brand new Cadillac convertible, that's kind of old school turn electric car, right? They did this beautiful prototype. They shot the commercial in this old school yellowish type of a thing. And there was this beautiful girl in this old fashioned clothing. Like, I loved everything about it. And I thought you guys would as well, but you didn't give a shit at all. And that was a positive story. But whenever I talk about Donald Trump fighting with Elon Musk, or or Cybertruck once again being exposed for yet another flaw, boom, I get a lot of views, or at least the videos that do blow up are all negative. So, and then I look through inside of these stories. I look through electric stories, Jalopnik stories, and I mean, they are just as negative. There is just unfortunately not too many things that are positive that's going on because a bunch of companies went belly up. The Lordstowns, the Fiskars, and all for really bad reasons. You know what I mean? The money mismanagement, and had nothing to do with their cars, and had a lot to do with how they mismanaged and got greedy. Fiskar, there's a bunch of stories coming out now. Fiskar literally almost didn't mean to make a car, that he just wanted to get rich, right? And this is the guy I had on my channel. I had Sandy Monroe on my channel, and it was great and wonderful until I realized that he says shit that's, one, not true, and secondly, does not disclose the when he gets paid from manufacturers who he talks about, or he talks about their competitors. So it became a problem in every single way. And as you can see, it wasn't just me, a lot. And I kind of keep my eye on the statistics of other influencers in the same niche, and I don't see anybody going up. Right? There's more electric cars. There are more people buying electric cars. The electric cars are more in the news, but I don't see the original influencers getting more views. At best, the views would be equal. Now, I do have more views now than I had before, but it's because I produce more shorter videos. That's right. I'm just basically, it's a brute force attack almost. But when I was making my regular long form content, I struggled to get the same views, and you can see it pretty much for everybody else. The Electric Viking is an exception, but he's kind of new to the game. He's still producing the content, but sooner or later, right, he's either going to meet a girl, or I think he's married or whatever. So he's going to have to pay attention to his personal life or health issues, or he just wants to have a life. I can tell you that is not very sustainable what he's doing, because I used to do the same thing. I used to do 3 videos per day, pretty much what he's doing right now. And I think I used to do one of them live. So but this is why you see a lot of social media influencers either quit or get irrelevant, or having to try all kinds of ideas. Like last year, I tried an idea which was suggested to me by probably one of the biggest YouTube coaches. There are YouTube coaches, believe it or not. There are conferences and classes that you can take and all that stuff. And he basically told me, Alex, do more of the comparisons and reviews of cars and everything. And I hate doing that. And I spent an entire year doing it. And I finally said, I don't want to do it anymore. The views weren't even great, but I just hated doing it. So I decided to do what I do now, which I absolutely love. Today I made 4 videos based on comments, based on some news. They're quick, so I don't have to dredge this one news into 10-minute video, right? As a matter of fact, I got to stay under 60 seconds. So my videos, I feel like generally are better quality per each video that you watch. I get to also, even though I don't think people appreciate it, but I try to have something really cool in the background. I film it, at the canals here or rooftops here in Bangkok. Sometimes I go to a park or whatever, or a cat cafe or whatever, and I film there. Yet I've made already 150 videos since the relaunch of the channel, and not a single person mentioned anything that was going on in my background, even though like Bangkok life is kind of exciting if you ask me. So it is. It's a shame, but it doesn't matter. I enjoy taking my camera with me and going out. Sometimes I travel to other countries, other cities. I take my camera with me so you guys can kind of check out where I'm at while I'm talking about whatever news that I'm talking about. So, but at the same time, like I don't really see this also being that sustainable unless something else happens. Now, I'm not going to lie. I've thought about, hey, why don't I just start talking about something else? I'm a single guy who came to a different country specifically because I didn't really want to date an American. I'm having a very interesting experience. I do have a lot to say about what's going on in American Western countries in terms of how, women and men are now interact with each other extremely differently. And I would like to, I see a lot of men who are not happy about their dating lives. And by the way, if you're a single guy watching me here, tell me if you're happy about your dating life. Is it better than it was 5 or 10 years ago or last time you were single, and which country you're in, right? If you're watching me in Thailand or Philippines or whatever, you're probably much happier than if you're watching me from Europe or America. And that's a very unfortunate part. And a lot of men don't know what to do. And I have a lot to share about what to do because I can see the light now that I'm here in Thailand. Even though it's not as amazing and everybody says, oh, you're just going to show up. The first thing that's going to happen to you when you step outside of the airport, it will be 10 women ready to marry you. No, it was not 10. No, there's nobody. There were a lot of taxi drivers. They definitely wanted to give me a ride home, but no women tried to marry me. So I thought about maybe making videos about that. I'm also learning Thai, and I want to make some videos in Thai now that I speak a little bit for the Thai audience, and there's a couple of other ideas that I have from just other maybe YouTube channels that I would start. So that's something I've been thinking about, and I see a lot of my friends doing that. I also thought about just not making videos at all, just because I'm in Thailand. I have plenty of money to pretty much never have to work in my life. I could just go on a beach, hang out with beautiful women here and eat the amazing Thai food. That's also kind of popped into my mind, or just travel. I just looked into going to Africa, for example. A lot of you probably know me, know why. So, that's also been on my mind, but I do still love electric cars because it incorporates 2 things that I like: technology and cars. I do like doing this, like I know these live streams don't really attract that much attention and not too many viewers, but I do like doing this. I do like talking to you guys. So it's, it is a treat. Like it's midnight. I could have been listening to some live music, just hanging out with a friend, but I came home early. So I took a nap just so, I'm able to do this, and I love it. And I do like making my videos. I do still have a lot to say. And as a matter of fact, I think if ever I feel like I need to have a voice, because there are a lot of people who are still preaching to the supreme leader, Elon Musk, and a lot of times they mislead their viewers. I mean, how many times I've had people complain saying like, oh my God, I watched a video, reviews of a Tesla Model Y, and then I bought one and it's a mess. And Alex, you have to, and it's like, well, yes, because all of the voices of Tesla fanboys completely drown me out. Somebody saying, hey guys, I would love for you to have an electric car, but if you're buying a Tesla, here's the things that you might want to consider or reconsider or accept and whatever. And sometimes people, I think, do need to buy a Tesla because of, like right now, I have a friend here who wants to buy an electric car. but he doesn't need to travel outside of Bangkok. And, still the Tesla superchargers is the fastest and sort of more available fast chargers here. So if you're going to travel outside of Bangkok in an electric car, well, Tesla is probably your best choice here, even though, like I said, I wouldn't buy a Model 3, Model Y if my life depended on it. Absolutely do not. I think they're insults to consumers. But in his case, I was like, you know what? Yeah. And my former assistant also just bought a Model Y because, at that time when he needed an electric car, he wanted to buy an electric car, Model Y monthly lease payment was like half of everything else. And he's like, dude, you know what I mean? And I was like, yeah, no, that makes sense. I'd rather have you, of course, buy an electric car and pay much less than not buy an electric car or buy a car that you cannot afford, So I was like, okay. And so he drives a Model Y, and but for me, I don't see myself driving a Tesla or especially Model Y or Model 3, which are the only essentially two models available here in Bangkok and in Thailand. So all of this is the reason I'm telling you this because I don't think anybody else would. And this will give you an idea why you're seeing so many channels either change the direction, including this one, or just completely stop making content. Some come back, like Kim Java came back, and I think Ben is now making a little bit more content, and some never come back. Some completely change topics, or some influencers create completely different channels. Like I know a buddy of mine who did this channel that was dedicated to, souped up used cars, right? Gas cars, but nevertheless. And he ended up starting a channel and that just wasn't bringing enough money, too much competition, all that stuff, even though his videos were really good. And so he started a smaller channel about vacuum cleaners. And I'm like, vacuum cleaners? You're like, yeah, Alex, vacuum cleaners. I have way less subscribers now, but I make so much more money. So, and that's how a lot of, unfortunately, the influencers are. And I got to tell you, if I saw the new generation of YouTubers coming in or influencers and doing a much better job than we did in our generation, I would have probably just done one of the two things. One, either say, guys, you're better than me. It's time to go. I'm going to go ahead and retire from YouTube, or I'm going to talk about other topics that I'm probably better suited for, like dating, like talking to men about what they need to do to actually, have a successful dating life, even if it's in America. But my first advice would be get a one-way plane ticket out of there and get your passport. But, or I would be like, okay, I see how these new YouTubers do a better job than me. I'm going to step up my game and try to do better, or at least catch up to them. But I don't see that. I literally do not see. As a matter of fact, I don't even know who these. And it's a good question that literally, as I was thinking, that somebody posted, right? So Mark says, let's see, takes a while. What is an AP YouTuber and influencer? That's a good question. I don't know anymore, because people who coming in, they're either crossing over from the existing automotive world, and like I said, I feel like they're kind of jaded and they really never cared about electric cars, or you have these people coming in on the scenes for like one or two videos that become popular, but then the algorithm moves on to the next person. I do my research every day, and I see what are the most popular electric car videos that are in my feed. They're either humongous YouTubers, and those videos are being kept in my feed all the time. So YouTube, who people think is really smart with their algorithm, no. Like, I might have even clicked on some of the videos and watched them. And every time I look at the Tesla electric car video feed in my YouTube app, it's the same freaking videos. So YouTube is not helping us with their algorithm, which I think is quite stupid at this point. I'm realizing that. And at the same time, the ones that I see that the new ones coming up, I never see them again. I don't see them establishing an authority, establishing an audience or whatever. They kind of appear and then disappear. The only one that I see consistently that's kind of entered the scenes lately is electric biking, but I don't think anybody is willing to essentially have no life and make 3 videos a day like he does. Even though, like I said, I would say he's the only success story that I know. Now, I'm not gonna lie, I don't watch his videos just because there's too many of them and too much of this. And a lot of times I feel like he's still a Tesla fanboy. I think he might have been changing lately, but there's some stuff that he said about Tesla that was like, okay, I can't hear you, buddy, all the way up in Elon's column. So I can't see what is the new electric car space, and generally speaking. And you know what? It's not just me. I have a lot of YouTuber friends, influencer friends, people who are just in the industry, and they're just as puzzled. People who made way more money than me. Whoa, I'm seeing some super chats where you guys just about to pay for my groceries for an entire month here. I'll get to you guys in a second. Thank you, Rob and David. But, much smarter, much bigger influencers than me are just as lost, right? I mean, I would get a message from like a major YouTuber going like, dude, my Facebook channel just got demonetized and I don't even know why, and Facebook doesn't want to talk to me. And I was like, what do you mean Facebook doesn't want to talk to you? You made millions of dollars for them. How are they not talking to you? And why would they demonetize you without, telling you so that you're doing something wrong? And how come you cannot, like, it is like, and as far as producing the new content, you probably notice the changes on my channel that I made over and over and over and over again, which is kind of annoying, probably not just for you, but for you guys, for me, but for you guys as well. But I see so many other channels that I like, including dating channels. Like, for example, I was just a guest on one of my most favorite dating channels. It's called Trip Advice. His last name is Trip, Tripp. Advice. And, I was talking about dating, in Thailand versus in America and why I left. But, he used to make amazing videos. They were long form videos and I would listen to them as I drive. But then he started kind of going after this red pill movement type of a thing where you invite women for a discussion and a debate about modern dating and stuff like that. And then he stopped doing that. And then he went back to like doing kind of a sensational videos, which and then now I see him actually doing pretty well on TikTok, making shorter videos. So, and I'm sure he will have to change it again and again and again. And what I'm saying, it's such a disservice, not only to us, but also to you guys, because I'm sure you want some stability. You want some stability in the voices you're listening to, because I like to listen to the same YouTuber over and over again, because I trust that person, right? I know that he didn't sell out, or I know that now he's popular. He has access to so many things I don't have access to, or other YouTubers don't have access to. So I trust them. So it is absolutely amazing that he now has to change, like everybody has to change the format, change audiences, and the algorithm does no longer care that we actually have authority, we have expertise and experience and the audience. Like I said, look at my subscriber count, look at other people's subscriber count, and just know it does not matter. Thanks for joining me, guys. This is, as always, a treat for me, even though we did not stay on topic for too long, but we did it all right. I will repost that part as a separate video. Don't know what we're going to do next week. I wanted to talk about, if I have one of the guests on, I'll try to get a guest on. Like I said, I have a couple of people lined up, but I didn't probably spend as much time as I should looking for guests. So maybe I'll do that this week. Tom Malogny is probably going to be here every month for sure, because I just enjoy having him on. And we used to have him on every week. And then format changed and he got busy and he got very popular. So we haven't done it in a while. So maybe we'll do it once a month. He was just on last week, which was a treat. Absolutely loved it. So, we'll see. But I also wanted to address some topics like today and the last week, a week before, that maybe don't necessarily have to do with electric cars, because we're just bullshitting here, right? But still have some interest. Anyway, thank you for hanging out with me, guys. Have a great the rest of your day or night if you're Southeast Asia, anywhere near my time zone. And I will see you tomorrow. And of course, remember to stay charged.